So last week I promised a review of my favorite headphones for music. Well, this is them. This is the Focal Elex. This is formerly a Mass Drop exclusive, but now you can find it on headphones.com. As of recording, it is $750 on drop.com, but on headphones.com it's on sale for $500. And at $500, this is a steal. Pick it up now. And a new cable for it, because don't use the cables that came with it, like I'm still using. I haven't bought a new cable for it yet, and I really should. Well, at least a new balanced cable. This is probably one of the most aggressive sounding headphones. We're going to circle back around to that in a little bit, though, because I want to get through the build first. It is an all-metal build, like through and through. It's all metal. You can see straight through that. Even, that's like a, I guess like a weaved wire, and it is built extraordinarily well. The ear cups are spring-loaded, and you'd think that would put pressure on the bottom of like right below your ears, but it doesn't. I think it's because of how unbelievably soft these pads are. Just be careful where you leave them, because if you leave them somewhere where the pad's being indented quite a bit, it can stick that way for a while. It seems like a regular 3.5 for the entry. From my understanding, you can use hi-fi main cables with it. I haven't, just because, I don't know. It's an expensive headphone. I'm being extra cautious. Although this cable is like vacuum cleaner quality. It's really thick, but it's not great for like handability. Like, it's just not, it just doesn't conform the way you want it to. It's not great. But the actual headphones themselves are incredible. It is a very upfront and in-your-face kind of headphone. And I really love the way it looks. It looks awesome. Most audiophile grade headphones don't look great. This looks amazing. Now, the major reason I don't really want to use hi-fi main cables with Focal headphones is because hi-fi main cables have like a dual ring, almost like stereo connector right here. While these are obviously mono each, I don't know if this can ruin them at all, because this is my second pair. The first pair had a driver in them die. I contacted Mass Drop, sent back the old pair, they sent me this new pair. I've had zero issues with it. I don't know if that was user error on my part for using hi-fi main cables. I've been using strictly the Focal cables with this one. No issues. I don't know if it was like giving it a weird polarity or something, or like shorting something. I don't know. But these are strictly Focal cables only. Same thing with my other pair of Focal headphones. I'm getting that out there right now. As far as clipping with the drivers, because from what I understand with the Focal Elex and the Clear, I've heard some issues about clipping with them. I have gotten these to clip, where, you know, the driver just bottoms out in it, but only at like extremely unreasonably loud volumes. And then I think I had it happen once with a Hans Zimmerman track, but I was listening to it at an unreasonable volume at that point in time anyway, because I was trying to be like, okay, how far can I push it? Because, you know, I heard issues about clipping. Thankfully, clipping, I would say it's a non-issue. Like, it's, if you listen to extreme volumes, I probably wouldn't be going towards an open back unless if it's like a planar, because from my understanding and from my experience as well, they can take more power when listening at high volumes. But honestly, please protect your hearing. Don't do that. Just listen at a normal volume. You will find as you listen to better and better headphones, you don't need the volume you do with cheaper headphones. These sound fine at lower volumes. You don't need to keep cranking it and cranking it and cranking it like you do with Skull Candies and Beats and, God forbid, Sony's. Okay, the MDR series is great. The WH series is hot garbage. Sony, why? Anyway, back around to these. Amazing. They don't stage very far out. Drop had this whole thing where it's supposed to be an upgrade from the HD 600s. I haven't heard the HD 600s. However, I have heard the HD 58X, and from my understanding, they are very similar. I can see it, but at the same time, no. It's not exactly. Those headphones have a certain sweetness to the mid-range. This doesn't have that. This is a detail monster. Like that's a big boy driver in there. That's clean looking. I love the way that looks. I love everything about the way this headphone looks. I can't even, like, it's just so, because the Sennheiser headphones, it's intimate, but it's like a laid back intimacy. This is like screaming ex-girlfriend, hammered, drunk, like in your face. I know it's probably a bad way to put it, but I have no other way to put it. It's hyper dynamic. It's hyper detailed. I would say this is at the point in headphones where, like, to get that hyper realism and detailed, you don't really have to sacrifice much. I would say in the top end, it's maybe a little dark for my liking, but that's an extreme nitpick. That's like, it's an extreme nitpick. Like, that's something where you got to be like, oh yeah, sipping on your brandy. Like, no. These things are amazing. Now, there is a bit of dip in the sub bass, but honestly, this isn't the type of headphone I would probably be listening to, like, deep sub bass on. I would probably turn to something that's a closed back. However, the mid bass does hit hard. So if you're listening to anything like metal on them, like the kick drums are gonna hit you in the chest, like, hard. It's a very dynamic headphone. The actual imaging on this headphone is fairly even, probably even more even than the HD8XX. The space that it's working with is a lot smaller, obviously. This barely goes past your head. It stages quite a bit wider than the HD6 series, but nothing gets as close to the HD8XX. This doesn't even stage as wide as a HE5XX. But within that small area in which this does stage, it's so even and precise. Like, you can just hear boop, 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 boop. Like, it's, a lot of headphones will be here, and then it's like straight over the, no, these, like, you can hear shit behind, like, your right eyeball. It's insane how evenly these things stage and the minute differences you hear in staging. It does make them a good gaming headset. Although, if you're going to be looking at spending about $750 on a headset when these aren't on sale, whenever the HD8XX go back on sale, I would probably pick those up. I have hope they'll go back on sale. I think they will. Cross your fingers. I've pretty much lost hope on the Koss ESP95X. I've always wanted a pair of those. Drop, please. Bring them back. I beg you. Back around to these again. A lot of tangents tonight. Anyway, the staging isn't the biggest, but the imaging within that staging is incredible and phenomenal. So this headphone is all technicalities. So, or all technicality, not technicalities. It's got the imaging, it's got the detail. You're missing that little bit of sub bass extension and that just hair of darkness in the top end. You know, buy a new cable, brighten it up, if you believe in that type of thing. That's why we're all in this hobby. Honestly, though, there is one big thing that would be keeping a lot of people from getting these headphones. they're very faithful to the source material. If the music you're listening to on these is poorly mastered, they will tell you up front. Great mastered music, it'll be the best it's ever heard. Poorly mastered music, it'll still sound good, but you'll really know it's poorly mastered because these will point out every single flaw within that music. Like it just picks it out through the entire song. It's really easy. So if you're listening to like something recorded in somebody's bedroom, or I just wouldn't. Pick something nicer sounding, save a little bit of money. But if you're willing to deal with that little caveat, and I do say a little because they still do sound good with poorly mastered music. You're just gonna know. You're really gonna know. I feel like this is when you start getting into the point with headphones where it's like truly reference grade. Because there's a lot of headphones that really fuck with shit. And this doesn't. This tells you how it is. And I love it for that. And the aggressiveness. The aggressiveness is nice too. It really shoves detail in your face. I love that. Now in terms of timbre, which is pretty much simplify things, it's how realistic something sounds, how natural it sounds to how it sounds in real life. Just a simplification of timbre for those of you that don't know. I've had comments about that in the past. Just trying to cover my bases here. It is phenomenal. Everything sounds realistic as it should. I have no complaints in that regard. Honestly, sometimes it is too faithful to the original source material in terms of how it displays stuff, because if you're listening to some really, really poorly mastered tracks like Invisible by Hotwire, it can become really grating. And I also recommend getting a really nice amplifier for it too. This is a headphone that demands like a high quality source with a high quality DAC into a high quality amp. Like even more so than the HD 8XX over here. Like anything less than, I want to say a Modius Magnius stack now, but it's is it the second? I believe the Modius is up to the second generation, and then the Magnius got replaced with the Midgard. Just that's the baseline here, because anything lower than that, it can get a little gritty. The detail just, it's drawing too much detail from what you're listening to. So you do need a good amp. They do benefit from a better amp. Not in terms of more power. You can power them off of almost anything. But in terms of the detail retrieval. If you can get them the proper amp, if you already got a good amp for them and a good DAC, and I would say jump on it. But this isn't something that you'd want to run off a phone unless if you have a really, really high quality dongle DAC. Like, I have a THX Onyx, which is like $200, and it's like, it uses the THX AAA technology, whatever. That, you can listen to them and they sound great through it, but it's not what it can really do. You really want to step up to something better. I know with this headphone, it sounds like there's a lot of caveats. And there is. But it's worth it. It's so worth it. Oh my God, it's worth it. Because whenever you got it hooked up to like an A90 or even the Magnius here, and you're just listening to the music, it's like everything else just melts away. It's like, I hate to say it like this, but it's almost like the way it was intended. I know if I move up to something significantly higher, better, like an Abyss, I probably won't feel that way about this specific headphone. I feel like the Abyss MR is probably something like I would love. But this is just, it's at that point where you can buy it and it's enough. I can feasibly see this headphone being somebody's end game. Just the immense amount of detail it pulls. Like when I first got this headphone, I plugged it in and I started listening to them, and I was hearing static in the back of my music. Like the drum would hit and there'd be a little bit of static in that drum hit, or there'll be a little bit of static in the S, or just not just the S's, but the consonants and singing. And I, honest to God, thought it was the headphone. I thought my very first pair was broke. It was broke just later on, but I thought it was broke when I bought it. And then I swapped to another pair of headphones, and I realized I was just hearing that micro detail for the first time ever with these. The amount of realism coupled with the detail is the reason I love these. They don't have to stage huge to be good. Sennheiser's proved that already. You don't have to have that super, super deep sub-bass extension to sound good. The mid-bass just punch and authority is just all this needs. It's not bloated, it's not congested, it's just everything you possibly would need if you were just looking for, like, I want to say the A90 of headphones, but that doesn't really make much sense. If you want a drunken ex-girlfriend to scream at you every night while hammered, this is the headphone you want. Well, maybe that's not a great way to put it either. I don't know, but it's an amazing headphone. Just give it a chance. Other than a little bit of sub-bass extension issue, and it's just a hair darker. I mean, like when I mean a hair darker sounding than what I would prefer, I mean like the difference between what, like, some people would say swapping a headphone cable would cause. It's just that little bit, just that minute bit, like half a decibel, if even that much. I love them. They're comfortable. They sound amazing. Just buy them. If you think it's going to be your cup of tea. Thank you for watching this video, guys. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. What's your favorite headphone? I want to know. Maybe I could get it in, review it, see what I think about it. Or if there's a headphone you want me to review, leave it down below. Stay tuned for next week's video. I'm going to be starting a series specific to this channel. It's going to be called Amazon Dumpster Diving. I hope you guys like it. It's just going to be me buying cheap stuff off Amazon and reviewing it and see if it's good or not. Don't be fooled by the name. Just because if something you like shows up on Amazon Dumpster Diving, it means it's on Amazon and it's cheap. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's just a catchy title. Alright guys, see you next week. I upload every Thursday. Bye.